All right, let's jump right in. When you think about your company's printers, you're probably thinking about toner, paper jams, maybe that one machine that just refuses to cooperate. But what if I told you that handling your print environment is actually one of the most underrated strategic moves your business can make? We're talking about Managed Print Services, or MPS, and believe me, it's way more than just keeping the ink flowing.
So, let me just ask you point blank. Do you have any idea, like right now, what your company truly spends on printing? And I don't just mean the obvious stuff. I mean everything. The service calls, the supplies that different departments are ordering on their own, the hours your IT team sinks into fixing little printer issues. For most companies, it's a total black box. And that black box, it's way bigger than you probably imagine. Get this, a staggering 90% of companies have absolutely no real clue what they're spending on printing. That is a massive blind spot and a huge pile of unmanaged cash just flying out the window. But, and this is the important part, there is a huge opportunity hiding in all that chaos. Businesses that get a handle on it with a managed print service, they can slash those unknown costs by up to 30%. That's serious savings that you can pour back into things that actually grow the business. So what exactly is this magic solution?
So what are we even talking about when we say managed print? I want to be clear, this isn't just about hiring someone else to deal with your printer headaches. No. It's a complete shift in strategy.
At its heart, MPS is all about the active management and optimization of how documents and information flow through your business. See, it's not really about the printers themselves, it's about the business processes that depend on them. It's about making that whole flow of information just smarter.
And this, right here, this really shows you that shift from total chaos to real control. On the left, that's probably a familiar scene, right? A dozen different printer models, people from every department ordering their own supplies, and your poor IT team just constantly putting out fires. But on the right, that's the new reality. One partner, predictable monthly costs, and an IT team that's actually free to do their real job.
Now that we're clear on what it is, let's get into the good stuff, the real value. And this goes way beyond just saving a few bucks. This gets to the very core of how a modern business has to run to stay competitive. This is where NPS becomes a real game changer. It's about making your business totally ready for hybrid work. It's about locking down a massive security risk that most people forget. It's about plugging into a cloud-first strategy, hitting your sustainability goals, and, crucially, building a roadmap so you're ready for whatever comes next.
Let's just double-click on security for a second, because this number, well, it's pretty alarming. 61% of organizations have had a data breach that was tied to printing. Think about it. Printers are endpoints on your network, just like a laptop, but they are so often the forgotten child of your security strategy.
So how do you fix a hole like that? Well, a real MPS partner builds security into every single layer. It starts with making the device itself secure. Then it's about protecting the data as it's flying across your network. And finally, it's about securing the actual physical documents, so sensitive reports aren't just left sitting on the printer for anyone to grab. And hey, you don't have to just take my word for it. This is from the IDC MarketScape, which is a highly respected industry analyst, and they've put HP right in that leaders quadrant specifically for security because they know how to bake print security into an organization's bigger IT strategy.
Another huge benefit here is future-proofing. I mean, everything is moving to the cloud, right? Your print setup has to be able to go with you. A modern MPS solution is built for the cloud, making sure your physical workflows and your digital workflows are perfectly in sync no matter where your team is logging in from.
Okay, let's talk real world for a minute. A great idea is only as good as the execution. And while it's easy to get excited about all the benefits, there are definitely some common traps that can completely sink an MPS project if you're not careful.
Yeah, success usually comes down to just avoiding these 4 classic mistakes. A total failure to plan up front, not having the right documentation, leaving your own IT team out of the loop, and, this is a big one, having 0 follow-through. You just can't treat this like a set-it-and-forget-it kind of deal. It doesn't work that way.
I just love this quote because it hits the nail on the head. You can have the best, most expensive MPS software in the world, but it's just a tool. If you don't have the right strategy and the expertise to use it, well, you're not going to become a master carpenter of your print environment. Okay, so enough theory. Let's look at something tangible. What does this look like when a company really gets it right? For that, we can look at the story of St. Joseph's Healthcare System. This quote from their director of technology, Jim Florian, is just so powerful. He said, the MPS model freed up his IT staff to focus on innovation. That is the exact strategic shift we were talking about. They went from fixing printers to actually driving the business forward. That's the goal. And what was the bottom line result? What did that actually look like in dollars and cents?
a savings of $120,000 a year. And that was just in IT staffing costs. That's not even counting all the other savings on supplies and efficiency. This is the real, measurable impact we're talking about.
So, you see the potential. You know the pitfalls to avoid. The last and maybe the most critical piece of this whole puzzle is choosing the right partner to go on this journey with you.
And this right here is the question you have to ask yourself. Are you looking for a vendor who just sells you machines and takes your toner order every month? Or are you looking for a true strategic partner who's going to help you optimize your business, secure your network, and build a plan for the future? They are two very different things.
In fact, here's a little checklist you can basically take with you to your next meeting. Ask them, will this scale with us when we grow? Will you actually secure our network and our sensitive data? Will this genuinely free up my IT team? And will you give us the data and analytics to prove it's all working? If they hesitate on any of these, they might just be an order taker. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Making this shift to managed print services, it's all about changing your perspective. It's about moving from just buying products, printers, ink, paper, to investing in real strategic outcomes, things like efficiency, security, sustainability, and innovation. So the question is, what are you going to choose?